You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Well, today is a first alert weather day with potential thunderstorms and rain. We are tracking when and where they could pop up. Plus, breaking news from Dallas, where there's been a deadly shooting at an ICE facility. What we're learning about the anti-ICE messages found at the scene. And an emotional return to the air for late-night host Jimmy Kimmel days after his suspension in the wake of Charlie Kirk's killing. Thanks for joining us this Wednesday. I'm Ann Makovic, and let's get straight into our first alert forecast because you need to sort of get used to the changes here. The Bay Area feeling weather whiplash from a brief heat wave to rain and the threat of thunderstorms today. This is a look outside from our camera on Treasure Island. Little gray. Jessica Birch tracking our conditions.
Stormy weather is in the forecast for us today with on and off showers throughout the bay. The other big story for us this afternoon, it's what you see around me. I mean, think about it. Yesterday, we were sitting about 17 degrees above average in places like Redwood City. Today, we're right back to where we should be, in the 70s throughout most of the South Bay. 70s into San Francisco, 70s up into wine country. We were in the triple digits yesterday, often in the East Bay. Today, we're back down into the mid 70s too. But it is a first alert weather day. We've been dealing with on and off showers in the forecast throughout the morning hours, all throughout the bay. And as we advance the clock into this afternoon, you're continuing to see this area of low pressure wring out more moisture, mostly throughout the South Bay, but these showers can push into the North Bay too as we head into the afternoon hours today and into the overnight hours tonight. In total, we won't see too impressive of rainfall totals, but what we're really concerned about is the lightning. Earlier this morning, all the way down into Paso Robles, we were seeing a lot of lightning activity along those hills. That exact same system moving its way north into the evening hours tonight. That's what we're going to keep a close eye on. Now, by Thursday, things start to dry up and warm up just a little bit more. So as you take a look at the next 7 days, I mean, yesterday we were talking about triple digits. That was one extreme. Today, we're back down into the 70s. We'll hold on tight to 80s mixed with 70s throughout most our inland spots as we head into this weekend with drier weather right around the corner. The next chance of a light thunderstorm or light showers would be mid next week, which we're keeping a close eye on right now when it comes to the forecast models. You make your way over into the bay, it's looking pretty similar. We're talking about daytime highs right back to average this afternoon. Cloudy skies lingering into our Thursday forecast before we start to dry up and warm up a little bit more into our Friday right around the corner. For now, back to you.
Our breaking news from Texas, where there has been a deadly shooting at an ICE facility in Dallas. Here's what we know right now. Authorities say 2 people have been killed. Another is in critical condition. Law enforcement sources say the 3 people who were shot were ICE detainees. Police say that the shooter opened fire from the roof of a nearby building and then took his own life. Authorities say they discovered anti-ICE messaging on ammunition found at the scene.
This is the 3rd shooting in Texas directed at ICE or CBP. This must stop. This has very real consequences. Look, in America, we disagree. That's fine. That's the democratic process. But your political opponents are not Nazis. We need to learn to work together without demonizing each other, without attacking each other.
The shooting happened in northeast Texas, right along a freeway. Reporter Omar Villafranca is in Dallas with the latest.
Well, there's still a lot of unanswered questions, and officials here, state and federal and city and county, had a chance to answer them, but they didn't. We had several questions that we wanted to know what's going to be done to protect not only the ICE agents, but who we're hearing was shot. We have 3 senior law enforcement officials that are telling Nicole Skanga, one of our DHS and security correspondents, that a gunman fired indiscriminately at the ICE facility. Victims that were shot were all ICE detainees, is what they're saying. So we were trying to ask Senator Cruz and the special agent here in charge, what are you going to do to protect your ICE agents, but also detainees who may be in U.S. government custody? Right. And they didn't want to answer that question. Let me kind of paint a picture of kind of lay of the land where we are. This road that you see behind me is I-35. For people who are not familiar, this is a hugely busy highway. This goes from Mexico all the way up to Canada. I mean, you're talking, it starts in San Antonio, Dallas, goes up through Kansas, goes through Minneapolis. This is a major highway of transportation. This is where this ICE facility is. This is not one of those big facilities that holds thousands of people. It's a small, almost like a processing facility. An immigration attorney I was just texting with told me that sometimes this is where people who do have their case going through the system will come in to check in. You have to do sometimes monthly or several times a year. You have to check in with ICE and immigration officers. This is also the facility where they do it. So just kind of trying to paint the picture of what that looks like here, right by a busy highway, not a place that you're going to come to unless you know it's here.
Well, CBS News has confirmed that a bomb threat was made to that same office last month. A man was arrested and charged after he claimed to have a detonator. He has been detained for weeks. We are going to continue to follow all this, bring you any developments on air on kpix.com and streaming on the free CBS News app. Jimmy Kimmel is back nearly a week after Disney suspended him after an outcry over his comments about the man accused of killing Charlie Kirk. In his monologue, Kimmel did not apologize and took jabs at his critics, but he's still off the air in some cities where dozens of ABC affiliates are refusing to run the show. Reporter Jonathan Bigliotti has more from Los Angeles.
Greeted by chants and a lengthy standing ovation, it was a triumphant return for late-night host Jimmy Kimmel.
I'm happy to be here tonight with you.
An emotional Kimmel took the stage for the first time since his nearly week-long suspension following comments he made about the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk.
That it was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man. I don't think there's anything funny about it.
In his monologue, Kimmel took aim at his critics, saying he felt lucky to live in a country where he could speak freely.
This show is not important. What is important is that we get to live in a country that allows us to have a show like this.
He thanked supporters, including Democrats and Republicans, who united against efforts to censor the comedian.
It takes courage for them to speak out against this administration, and they did, and they deserve credit for it, and thanks.
Two major station groups, Sinclair and Nexstar, said they would not air Kimmel's program on Tuesday. They represent about a quarter of ABC affiliates. Kimmel also slammed FCC Chairman Brendan Carr over his apparent threats to scrutinize ABC because of his show.
In addition to being a direct violation of the First Amendment, is not a particularly intelligent threat to make in public.
He really came out tonight and set a tone that was respectful, a little apologetic, but as irreverent as ever, because that's who Kimmel is.
Entertainment Tonight host Kevin Frazier.
He was tested not only by the network, by the affiliates, but also people in this country who were questioning him. And he stood 2 feet deep in the sand and said, "Here I am."
Kimmel also had a little help from Robert De Niro, who channeled past roles to star as a new mafioso FCC chair.
Speech, it ain't free no more.
What? It's not free no more?
Yeah, we're charging by the word now.
And just before the show aired, President Trump weighed in online, writing, and I quote here, "I can't believe ABC fake news gave Jimmy Kimmel his job back." The White House was told by ABC that the show was canceled. The president then appeared to threaten another lawsuit against ABC, writing, "I think we're going to test ABC out on this."
Late night hosts celebrating the return of Kimmel to television, and that includes the host of The Late Show on CBS, Stephen Colbert.
I have this wonderful news for my dear friend Jimmy and his amazing staff. They continue the show. That's right. You know, I'm so happy for them. Plus, now that Jimmy's not being canceled, I get to enjoy this again. Yeah. I was just, once more, I am the only martyr in late nights.
Last night's guest on The Late Show was Governor Gavin Newsom. During that interview, he lashed out against the Trump administration and spoke on the new state law that bans law enforcement from wearing masks to hide their identities. Newsom also highlighted California's partnership with Washington and Oregon to counter what he's calling the, quote, politicization of the CDC and vaccine guidelines under Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
In California, we're requiring our health plans, we're requiring those insurance companies to provide access, and we're making sure that our own independent analysis provides a list of recommendations based on facts, based on science, not based on bull and fear.
The governor is in New York for Climate Week. That's an annual event held at the same time as the UN General Assembly. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area. Critical fire stations finally back up and running in the Oakland Hills. What it took to get every station back to service after 2 decades.
That's the closest thing to the national park. So if they don't know how to fight fires, no one does.
Plus, a tax bump being pushed back for California's cannabis industry. But some pot shop owners are saying it's too little, too late.
They're leaving the licensed market to go to where they're paying less or no taxes.
The impact the temporary reprieve will have for business owners trying to stay afloat.
It's the first alert weather day here in the Bay Area as we're gearing up for thunderstorms widespread throughout the Bay today. On and off showers in the forecast too, and significantly cooler temperatures. I mean, think about it. Yesterday we were in the triple digits off into the East Bay, all the way down into the Santa Clara Valley. We had upper 90s. Today we're in the 70s in those communities with cloudy skies, stormy weather, and we'll hold on tight to some cooler weather too as we head into this weekend as we start to dry up. You'll notice that along the Bay too. Yesterday we were in the 90s in places close to San Francisco. Today 70s, and we'll hold on tight 70s heading into this weekend.
Well, as we watch for those potential thunderstorms today, we know that lightning can spark fires. Earlier this month, the TCU September Lightning Complex fires in Gold Country in the Central Valley burned more than 21 square miles and destroyed more than 100 buildings and homes. That is why emergency fire crews staffing can be critical. And there's some welcome news for neighbors in the Oakland Hills. As Brad Hamilton shows us, all of the city's fire stations are up and running for the first time in 2 decades.
You came through the canyon right through there. That's downtown San Francisco.
This is Calvin Black's oasis. He moved to this Oakland Hills home in 1988, and not a day has gone by since without a morning spent looking out at that view.
And on a very clear day, you can even see the Golden Gate Bridge.
Calvin would do anything to protect his property, but at the start of this year, he felt city leaders stopped having the same goal.
That's the closest thing to the national park. So if they don't know how to fight fires, no one does.
In January, Oakland Fire Department temporarily shut down 2 of the Hills' fire stations, Station 25 on Butters Drive in Joaquin Miller Park, and Station 28, where Calvin lives on Grass Valley Road. Oakland Fire Department spokesperson Michael Hunt says the move wasn't an easy one and strictly made because of the city's budget shortfall, a concept they know all too well.
Really from the late 90s under Mayor Jerry Brown, there had been a reduction in firehouses by 1 or 2 companies, it seemed like for every year.
But now, for the first time in 20 years, Hunt is glad to say all systems are a go. Not only did they recently reopen stations 25 and 28, but also Station 10 in the Grand Lake neighborhood, which was closed since November 2022 for renovations.
It's a huge boost to the department morale-wise, but also just in the terms of safety for the community.
Hunt says community pressure was key to getting the support they needed to reopen, especially in the Oakland Hills. It was October of last year when the fast-moving Keller fire broke out in the hills above 580. It significantly damaged 1 home and threatened dozens of others. It was a frightening reminder of the 1991 Oakland Hills firestorm that killed 25 people and destroyed more than 3,000 homes. Calvin remembers exactly where he was when that fire broke out.
I was here. I was on my way to San Francisco.
And he hasn't taken a single day here for granted since. Now, he says he's relieved to see the protection he's always counted on back in place.
Whatever the cost is, they need to be paid.
In talking with other firefighters here, they say that more staffing and stations are needed. As one official put it, quote, "We're now a full go for the year 2005. But he also pointed out that calls have grown exponentially since then and more adjustments are needed.
Those stations in the Oakland Hills temporarily closed back in January because of a $13 million budget deficit. We have learned a UPS worker was killed in an industrial accident. It happened in Richmond. Police say he was loading shipments inside a cargo trailer Sunday when several packages fell on her. A co-worker later found her trapped at the warehouse and called emergency responders, but it was too late. An online fundraiser has been set up by the family. They've identified her as Shelma Reyes. According to the page, she was a mother of 5 children. Today, crews cleared a tree that fell onto a freeway in Daly City. Here's a look from our chopper this morning. The CHP reporting that tree along southbound 280 near Hickey Boulevard at around 4 a.m. It was completely blocking the right lane. As you can see there, the CHP says the roadway was cleared by about 8 this morning. The tax on cannabis is going down in California. We've heard complaints about people in the industry about the high costs, regulation, and being totally overshadowed by the black market. This week, Governor Gavin Newsom signed AB 564 that prevents taxes on the cannabis industry from getting even higher. Sets the state's cannabis excise tax at 15% until 2028. It was supposed to go up to 19%. Some cannabis store owners and advocates are now celebrating the change. Amanda Harry spoke with a dispensary owner in Berkeley about what the temporary reversal means for legally operating businesses.
Operator of Cannabis Buyers Club Berkeley, Andre Special, is feeling relieved.
Super thankful that the governor heard the message.
Special wants safe, tested, and regulated marijuana to be easy for everyone to access. That's why she's poured her heart and soul into CBCB. Both her children even work at the business.
Food, fuel, fiber, fun, and medicine. And it really is such an important plant that can do so many things to help. And you know, once I started becoming an activist and I saw the people that really, their lives were changing with this plant. We have people that have been coming here since they were children with epilepsy.
It's existed since 1996. She's operated it since 2007. She knows the difference THC and CBD can make in people's lives. That's why consumers, advocacy groups, and operators were reaching out to Governor Gavin Newsom's office, saying a planned cannabis excise tax bump from 15% to 19% was too much. That's in addition to the state sales tax and a local tax.
So as of July 1st, the tax in Berkeley was 34.25%. It's 30% tax, and you know, we're going in the right direction. It's very difficult for us to compete.
This week, the governor announced the tax bump would be pushed back. Special says the slight break will help them compete with the illegal businesses that bill themselves as hemp or smoke shops.
Consumers can't really tell the difference between our shop and their shop, yet there's no taxes, there's no testing. They're not really sure exactly what product you might leave the store with.
She says it can be dangerous, but with increasing prices at legal shops, people are overwhelmingly moving in that direction, leaving her business with fewer customers.
The fact that sales revenue is going down across the state when there's more users than ever. So that's showing that they're leaving the licensed market to go to where they're paying less or no taxes.
Special is grateful the tax increase is delayed until 2028, but says the taxes are still too high to already compete with the illegal market. She believes people are willing to pay a tax to get a tested and reliable product, but only within reason.
The fact that sales revenue is going down across the state when there's more users than ever. So that's showing that they're leaving the licensed market to go to where they're paying less or no taxes.
Well, Andre talked a lot about supporting the legal market, and it clearly does need help. The state's own data shows less than half of all the cannabis that was consumed in California last year was sold legally, less than half. To give you an idea of how much money the state pulls in from the cannabis excise tax, it says it got almost $150 million of revenue during just the second quarter of 2025. The state uses that money for things like child care programs and medical research. Well, the San Francisco Giants have officially been eliminated from the playoff race yet again. The Giants lost 9-8 to the Cardinals at Oracle Park last night, blowing a 5-run lead. The Giants are missing the postseason for the 8th time in 9 years. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area. A California family fighting to silence those annoying loud ads on video streaming services.
The volume of the commercials is so loud that it'll wake her up.
How this battle all started with an 8-month-old baby.
Come on!
Now, as we head into the afternoon hours today, there's a couple things I want to mention. We're not going to see crazy impressive amounts of rain. In total, we could see closer to around 1/10 of an inch down in the Santa Clara Valley, which, you know what, for what it's worth, for one-day system, that is pretty impressive. But you had a little bit more north, closer to wine country, where yesterday we were talking about a heat wave in harvest, and now we're seeing just a little splash of showers. We'll see closer to around 1/100th of an inch of rain. The more north we go, closer to Napa, all the way over into San Rafael and down across the Golden Gate Bridge into San Francisco. So let's drop this real fast and let's talk let's also talk about what else is going on with this system too, because as we head outside today, not only are we dealing with on and off showers throughout the forecast in the Bay Area, we're also gearing up for 70s and 80s widespread from the coast over into our inland spots. This is a big deal because yesterday we were talking about daytime highs well above average. Today we're actually below average in San Jose, Livermore by 8 degrees. San Francisco still topping off a degree above average this afternoon, but by all means it's a lot cooler compared to where we were at just yesterday. And by tomorrow we're going to see similar conditions too. 70s mixed with 80s in our inland spots throughout the rest of this week, heading into this weekend. As we head over into the Bay, closer to 70s, at least in places like San Francisco as we wrap up this weekend, heading into next week too. So mild conditions across the board. This is a more normal fall-like pattern for us here in the Bay Area. We just have to get through today's first alert weather day first with a chance of lightning and showers on and off throughout the Bay.
Now to a showdown over streaming services, and it all centers around the sleep schedule of an 8-month-old baby. California lawmakers are taking aim at loud commercials on those services, and it was all prompted by 2 sleep-deprived parents. CBS California Investigates reporter Julie Watts spoke to them about the effort that could silence loud ads across the country.
Are you the youngest lobbyist ever?
She's not registered. That could get her into some trouble.
Little Samantha's accomplished beyond her years. Well, months.
Look who's here.
She's the catalyst for the California bill that could impact the entire country, even if she is more interested in chewing on her legislation than reading it.
Hey, you're eating it.
You see, her parents, Zach and Rachel Keller, were doing what new parents do. Settling in to watch TV after finally getting Samantha down for the night when...
Oh, I can't believe this happens again.
Come on!
A blaring commercial abruptly ended their moment of peace, waking the baby again.
And a lot of times we have the volume so low that we just have subtitles running, and still the volume of the commercials is so loud that it'll wake her up.
And they're not the only ones who are frustrated. Forum after forum, review after review, people across the country are complaining about loud streaming commercials and ads. Now, federal law already prohibits regular TV broadcasters from airing commercials that are much louder than the program you're watching. But streaming services weren't around when they passed that federal callback back in 2010, so it doesn't apply to them. Samantha's parents thought it was time to close that loophole.
Senator, do you have any witnesses to speak in favor of the bill?
Samantha's only 8 months old, so she was not available.
Samantha's dad works for California State Senator Tom Umberg.
And I thought, I've got 3 kids, 8 grandchildren. That's a good idea.
And you're not the only one who thinks it's a good idea.
It's one of the most popular bills in the legislature, but it's not popular with everyone.
The bill unanimously passed the state Senate.
Been there, done that.
And sailed through its assembly committee. Do pass. But the powerful Motion Picture Association fought hard to kill the bill, arguing it could hurt small, independent streaming services.
Unlike in the broadcasting cable network environment, streaming ads come from several different sources and cannot necessarily or practically be controlled by streaming platforms.
What's your response to that?
Are you kidding? That's my response. Now, they know which hand I use to basically control the remote. They can figure out how to basically make them within normal range.
None of the streaming services responded to our emails, and the Motion Picture Association declined our interview request. But this bill really demonstrates the power of California lawmakers inside this building. They are doing something that federal lawmakers can't, because big companies generally don't make one policy or product for California. and another for everyone else. So, as goes California, goes the nation. And as for this tiny lobbyist and her very tired parents, they hope Samantha's bill will ultimately help babies across the country sleep a little more soundly.
Now, the bill is now on the governor's desk. His office tells us they typically do not comment on pending legislation. And we should mention Netflix co-founder Reed Hastings just donated $2 million to the campaign for Governor Newsom's redistricting ballot measure. Coming up in the next half hour here on CBS News Bay Area, a neighbor putting pressure on a Bay Area city to clean up a street that's turned into a dumping ground.
And as you can see, anybody that wants to use the sidewalk, it's impossible. It's eliminated.
Why he feels like a citizen hotline to report the dumping is all for show. Plus,
I'm Jim Axelrod in San Rafael, California. While politicians argue in Washington over ending scientific animal testing, it's a little girl in this house north of San Francisco who's caught in the middle.
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Thanks for being with us this Wednesday. I'm Ann Makovic. Here's another look at some of our news headlines today. Breaking news from Texas, where there has been a deadly shooting at an ICE facility in Dallas. 2 people have been killed. Another is in critical condition. Law enforcement sources telling CBS News that the 3 people who were shot were all ICE detainees, not officers. Police say the shooter opened fire from the roof of a nearby building and then took his own life. They say they found anti-ICE messaging on ammunition found at the scene. Jimmy Kimmel back on air nearly a week after Disney suspended him after comments he made in the wake of Charlie Kirk's killing. In an emotional monologue, Kimmel said he never meant to make light of Kirk's murder. Sinclair and Nexstar Station said they will continue to preempt Kimmel's show. And we've learned a UPS worker was killed in an industrial accident in Richmond. Police say she was loading shipments inside a cargo trailer Sunday when several packages fell on her. A coworker later found her trapped at the warehouse and called emergency responders, but it was too late. An online fundraiser set up by the family has identified that victim as Shelma Reyes. According to that page, she was the mother of 5 children. All right, let's get another check on our first alert forecast. It is a first alert weather day because it's a bit of a whiplash right now. Meteorologist Jessica Birch tracking the threat of rain and thunderstorms.
Stormy weather is in the forecast for us today with on and off showers throughout the bay. The other big story for us this afternoon, it's what you see around me. Think about it. Yesterday we were sitting about 17 degrees above average in places like Redwood City. Today we're right back to where we should be, in the 70s throughout most of the South Bay. 70s into San Francisco, 70s up into wine country. We were in the triple digits yesterday off into the East Bay. Today we're back down into the mid 70s too. But it is a first alert weather day. We've been dealing with on and off showers in the forecast throughout the morning hours all throughout the bay. And as we advance the clock into this afternoon, you're continuing to see this area of low pressure wring out more moisture, mostly throughout the South Bay, but these showers can push into the North Bay too as we head into the afternoon hours today and into the overnight hours tonight. In total, we won't see too impressive of rainfall totals, but what we're really concerned about is the lightning. Earlier this morning, all the way down into Paso Robles, we were seeing a lot of lightning activity along those hills. That exact same system moving its way north into the evening hours tonight. That's what we're going to keep a close eye on. Now, by Thursday, things start to dry up and warm up just a little bit more. So as you take a look at the next 7 days, yesterday we were talking about triple digits. That was one extreme. Today, we're back down into the 70s. We'll hold on tight to 80s mixed with 70s throughout most our inland spots as we head into this weekend with drier weather right around the corner. The next chance of a light thunderstorm or light showers would be mid next week, which we're keeping a close eye on right now when it comes to the forecast models. You make your way over into the bay, it's looking pretty similar. We're talking about daytime highs right back to average this afternoon. Cloudy skies lingering into our Thursday forecast before we start to dry up and warm up a little bit more into our Friday right around the corner. For now, back to you.
Well, for decades, the city of Oakland has struggled with a huge illegal dumping problem. People seemingly coming from all over the Bay Area to dispose of their trash on the streets and sidewalks. In some cases, it can sit there for months or even years. It is particularly bad at 71st Avenue and International Boulevard, about a mile from the Coliseum. Families often walk down 71st to get to one of the many schools nearby. The city has set up a citizen hotline to report illegal dumping. But one person who lives in East Oakland told our John Ramos that in his neighborhood, it feels like it's all just for show.
It's not exactly breaking news that the city of Oakland has an illegal dumping problem, but that may be a problem in and of itself. The people who live in this neighborhood say this giant pile of trash has been here so long, they don't think the city is ever going to clean it up.
People pull up, dump their trash, and as you can see, anybody that wants to use the sidewalk, it's impossible. It's eliminated.
Ansel Troy lives a few blocks from 71st Avenue in Oakland, but he's become something of a crusader for the narrow one-way street.
So what happens is they just pile on to the trash that's already there. And I've been documenting this for the entire month of September.
Ansel thought his social media posts for the past month would embarrass City Hall into removing the mess. But another neighbor named Steve says it's been here a lot longer than that.
This trash has been here for like almost 2 years, and I've been reporting it on the 311. That doesn't help.
Oakland set up a citizen hotline, Oak 311, to report such problems, and Ansel did that. And he got this response on Monday, closing his report, saying the matter had been addressed. But, of course, the trash is still here.
I guess I'm wondering, are they lying to me intentionally? Did somebody make a mistake? I don't see how you could miss all this.
But he's really disgusted by what happened on Friday. As part of a newspaper article touting the success of the county's anti-dumping efforts, a city crew was photographed removing debris from the corner of 71st and International Boulevard. But after the photo op was over, the crew left without touching the trash on 71st Ave, just 30 feet away.
They want us to highlight the farmers market and the lake and the soccer games, but they don't want to really address this.
There are some homeless people living on the block, but they say they want it cleaned up as well, since they usually get the blame for it. One woman named Star said people arrive in trucks to unload the trash.
We clean up all the time, but they just come and put more garbage. And my other little friend, she homeless too. She be going, cussing them out. No, y'all ain't gonna put that right there. And I be saying, calm down, calm down. We can't stop them people. But they do it even more and more.
Ansel is fed up. He says it's absurd to think that this would be allowed to exist in any wealthier part of town.
We deserve our neighborhoods to be just as clean as any other area. And for a city that talks about equity, right, where is the equity when it comes to addressing this?
Ansel believes allowing the pile of trash to linger sends a message that it's okay to dump here. And he thinks a lot of his neighbors have also been convinced that they don't deserve anything better.
Well, we have reached out to the city of Oakland for comment and have not yet heard back. New video of a smash and grab robbery. Thieves trapped inside the jewelry store just after they robbed it. We first reported this story yesterday of a takeover-style robbery in San Ramon. Cell phone video shows the robbers being locked inside the store, pushing against the glass before one suspect pulls out a gun and fires multiple times through the glass. The suspects then escaped into waiting vehicles. This happened just before 2 Monday afternoon, broad daylight, Heller Jewelers at the City Center Bishop Ranch. Law enforcement arrested several people in Oakland and Dublin. The man convicted of firebombing a UC Berkeley police car said he was inspired by the 2023 Hamas attack on Israel and has been sentenced to almost 2 decades in prison. On June 1st, 2024, prosecutors say Casey Robert Goonan placed a bag of 6 Molotov cocktails underneath a patrol car, setting it on fire and running away. They say that he also tried to firebomb the Ronald B. Dellums Federal Building in Oakland 11 days later and lit other fires on UC Berkeley's campus before he was arrested June 17th. In January, he pleaded guilty to 1 count of maliciously destroying or damaging property by means of fire or explosives. Now he's been sentenced to 19 years in prison. At that sentencing, the judge referred to Goonan as a domestic terrorist. A popular playground in San Francisco that was damaged by an arsonist is back open today. The fully restored playground is located at Lafayette Elementary in the outer Richmond. It was shut down after 2 separate fires in May. One destroyed the play equipment, the other burned an outdoor storage shed used by the PTA. This morning, San Francisco Unified hosted a reopening event. The school district superintendent tells us the project was done quickly thanks to the community.
Normally, projects like this takes upwards of a year to do because we have to go through lots of different layers of certifications and approval processes. But we worked closely with our State Department to make sure that they fast-track this project because, again, this was an arson issue.
A 29-year-old arson suspect was arrested in late May, though police are still investigating whether he's responsible for both fires. Coming up next here on CBS News Bay Area, new efforts in the nation's capital to ban testing products on animals. We're going to meet a Bay Area family who says that testing is critical for their baby daughter.
It's the first alert weather day here in the Bay Area as we're gearing up for thunderstorms widespread throughout the Bay today. On and off showers in the forecast too, and significantly cooler temperatures. I mean, think about it. Yesterday we were in the triple digits off into the East Bay, all the way down into the Santa Clara Valley. We had upper 90s. Today we're in the 70s in those communities with cloudy skies, stormy weather, and we'll hold on tight to some cooler weather too as we head into this weekend as we start to dry up. You'll notice that along the Bay too. Yesterday we were in the 90s in places close to San Francisco. Today 70s, and we'll hold on tight 70s heading into this weekend.
Pressure is building to end the use of animals for scientific research. It is a multi-billion-dollar industry, but with few alternatives, animal testing remains critical to saving human lives. Reporter Jim Axelrod has more from San Rafael with a little girl whose family is relying on that critical research.
When dozens of monkeys made a break for it from this research facility in South Carolina last November,
workers are laying traps to catch dozens of monkeys that escaped from a research facility last night.
most people following the story didn't know what the monkeys were running from. But as animals used in government-funded medical testing, they were actually fleeing for their lives.
We're excited to work with you, DOJ, the administration, and others to continue cutting wasteful spending on animal experiments.
But this brewing political fight about the future of animal testing and millions of dollars of funding for animal experiments being cut.
Today we announced a dramatic reduction in animal testing at NIH and FDA.
May shape the quality of human lives as well. In San Rafael, California, Justin and Rosalind Porcano's 7-year-old daughter Leah has a rare genetic disorder, Usher syndrome type 1B. She was born deaf, and without new treatments, she faces even more challenges ahead.
If we don't find a treatment, Leah will most likely be legally blind before high school.
So she'll be blind and deaf?
Yes.
And this will happen in the next 7-8 years?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
When Leah was diagnosed, her parents looked everywhere for a way to help her. They found a scientist at the Oregon National Primate Research Center who provided hope through testing with monkeys.
I think about I'd rather not be testing in a non-human primate, but what are the options?
What's the alternative?
Yeah, you can't just stop testing in all animal models right now. It's a crazy concept.
The Porcanos feel primate testing is the best bet for now, but they're also placing hope in new technologies being developed in labs like this one at Johns Hopkins University.
If the future provided a way to do all the testing in a lab and no animals suffered, would you be in favor?
Absolutely.
Of course.
But as of now?
We're not there.
We're not there yet. And we don't have the luxury of time.
This is kind of my dream. Here in Jack Thornton's lab, they're working on something that sounds like science fiction. Organoids.
It's an emerging technology.
It's the early days.
Yeah, we're still getting there.
Grown from human tissue, organoids are cells from specific organs that could one day make animal testing obsolete. But not yet, says Paul Locke, who oversees the lab.
I want to see us get out of the business of using animals in research. The question is when. The answer is not tomorrow.
But this little girl may not have time to wait for one day.
Well, the Bay Area couple also runs a nonprofit called Save Sight Now that is dedicated to finding treatments for Usher syndrome 1B. As we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, we are raising a glass to the history and legacy of tequila. The popular spirit has its roots in the agave plant of Oaxaca. In San Francisco, Julio Bermejo is sharing the history and culture of the iconic spirit. He's the driving force behind Tommy's Mexican restaurant, and he's been educating customers for decades, turning a family-owned restaurant into a global destination with his signature drink.
Salud. That's your Tommy's margarita. So there's a little bit of San Francisco everywhere you go when you see a Tommy's on someone's menu.
Our Ryan Yamamoto taking us to Tommy's. You can see it here tonight at 5. Time for happy hour on our evening edition. We're going to be bringing you stories like this all month long for Hispanic Heritage Month. And be sure to check out our half-hour special, Una Familia, airing on October 16th, 7:30 p.m. It's going to be hosted by Argiana Franco and Len Ramirez. Coming up here on CBS News Bay Area, you could soon be the proud new owner of some baseball history. An inside look at the big ticket items up for auction from the life of Willie Mays.
It's amazing. This is all the coolest stuff you'll ever see.
Now, as we head into the afternoon hours today, there's a couple things I want to mention. We're not going to see crazy impressive amounts of rain. In total, we could see closer to around 1/10 of an inch down in the Santa Clara Valley, which, you know what, for what it's worth, for one-day system, that is pretty impressive. But you had a little bit more north, closer to wine country, where yesterday we were talking about a heat wave in harvest, and now we're seeing just a little splash of showers. We'll see closer to around 1/100th of an inch of rain. The more north we go, closer to Napa, all the way over into San Rafael and down across the Golden Gate Bridge into San Francisco. So let's drop this real fast and let's talk let's also talk about what else is going on with this system too, because as we head outside today, not only are we dealing with on and off showers throughout the forecast in the Bay Area, we're also gearing up for 70s and 80s widespread from the coast over into our inland spots. This is a big deal because yesterday we were talking about daytime highs well above average. Today we're actually below average in San Jose, Livermore by 8 degrees. San Francisco still topping off a degree above average this afternoon, but by all means it's a lot cooler compared to where we were at just yesterday. And by tomorrow we're going to see similar conditions too. 70s mixed with 80s in our inland spots throughout the rest of this week, heading into this weekend. As we head over into the Bay, closer to 70s, at least in places like San Francisco as we wrap up this weekend, heading into next week too. So mild conditions across the board. This is a more normal fall-like pattern for us here in the Bay Area. We just have to get through today's first alert weather day first with a chance of lightning and showers on and off throughout the Bay.
It has been more than a year since Giants legend Willie Mays died, and a unique auction is now underway for some of his memorabilia. It is expected to generate millions as fans are getting a chance to see some of the Say Hey Kids' prized possessions this week. It's all for a good cause that was close to Mays' heart. Kenny Choi has more on who will benefit from the much-anticipated auction.
From signed Louis Vuitton leather-bound notebooks to game-worn cleats, baseballs, and bats, hundreds of Willie Mays' personal memorabilia collection are being auctioned off.
This was one of the most decorated defensive players in the history of baseball. These are his gold gloves.
Dave Hunt is president of Hunt Auctions. Some 900 items are up for bid.
All tell part of a story of Willie's life, from Westfield, Alabama, and the Negro Leagues all the way up to later in life being an ambassador for the game of baseball.
Giants fan Vinny Lazzarini wanted to see the collection in person and pay tribute to the legend who burst onto the scene with the New York Giants in 1951. Mays went on to hit 660 home runs, win 2 MVPs, and collect 24 All-Star appearances.
It's amazing. This is all the coolest stuff you'll ever see. Willie lived 10 lifetimes, so he's got everything here.
Including Mays' 1954 New York Giants World Series ring, expected to fetch at least $500,000 according to Hunt. Whether you're a bidder or not, anyone can take a look.
We want people to come in and just experience these things, even if they don't want to bid. Even if you just want to learn a little bit about Willie Mays and his life and what he accomplished.
All proceeds, estimated to be in the millions, will benefit the Say Hey Foundation to help underserved youth in the Bay and across the country.
We honor the wishes of the player that's selling the things with us, and Willie always wanted this to go to help get young people a better start than he had from Westfield, Alabama.
Hunt says not all of Mays' possessions are being auctioned and that Mays Foundation will have items to showcase.
We're so happy that Willie wanted to do this and wanted to do good for others, and we are very honored to be a part of that, and hopefully that will raise an enormous amount of money for the foundation he cared about so much.
It's the Say Hey Kids parting gift for the kids.
Now, Willie Mays' son, Michael Mays, has publicly expressed opposition to some of the things being auctioned, including Mays' Presidential Medal of Freedom. Online bidding continues throughout the week, with the live auction across the street from Oracle Park happening on Saturday. Thanks for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Ann Makovic. We're going to be right back with your first alert forecast and another look at your top stories.